Could you hold me tight? Don't turn off the lights. I don't wanna fight with you. Hold me tight. Could you hold me tight? Could you hold me tight? Don't turn off the lights. I don't wanna fight with you.
Now that I'm looking back, I can see all the signs I tried to fill in the cracks that were spread in my mind, but I was all out of hope, lost in an endless maze. The emptiness had unfolded just like a void, but you broke the coldness somehow and lit up a flame. Ooh, screamed out loud because it felt impossible in my bones, like getting blood out of a stone on my own. But you came around and removed the thorn in my soul. You guided me out of the storm. I found home in your arms of gold, in your arms of gold, in your arms of gold. It's funny how easily a life can be torn apart. Why couldn't I simply see that I was sick at heart and I am in deep debt? The climb we did was
Yo, welcome in.
I just can't believe it.
24 hours, I guess a little less than that, until the game drops. I don't know how I'm gonna contain myself pretty much all day long tomorrow. I don't know. It's gonna be insane. It is gonna be insane. Welcome in though. Yo, it's good to have you. Thanks for stopping by. It's been a long time since I've done a stream like this, I'll tell you what. This is taking me back to my my pre YouTube partner Twitch days, to be honest. Yo, welcome in, by the way. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've had a stream like this where I don't have any plans to do any major gaming, man. I'm just gonna be hanging out with you guys today, which is gonna be awesome. But yeah, welcome in. Mike, good to see you. My boy Frank in the building. Kangwin, thank you so much for the re-upped Twitch sub and for the YouTube membership. That's insane. Dude, my guy, thank you so much. Also, since the last time I saw you guys, I updated my mic, or my my boom arm. Look. I can't really get it in the frame, but I have a new Elgato arm for my microphone, so I'm kind of getting it into the right position for the first time. So, yeah, what's going on though? Good to have you guys. Really good to have you guys. Thanks for stopping in for a few minutes. I really just wanted to come on here and go live for a little bit and talk to you guys about what we are going to do for our stream series, because it is going to be, the hype for College Football 25 is through the roof, and I want to make sure that I do the game justice by putting together a really solid series that you guys will be excited to watch. That's goal number one for me. So I was like, you know what? Let's go live. Let's talk about where my thoughts are let me get some thoughts and some feedback from you guys. And then when the game drops tomorrow, we'll have our plan in place. We won't have to waste any time with the game out. We can just dive in and get to playing. Does that sound fair and reasonable? Shout out real quick to Party Marty and T Clink in the building. It's good to see you guys. How the heck are you? Happy Sunday. Happy pre-college football 25. And yeah, so I have a few things written down that I want to share with you guys. Some thoughts that I have. But in general, I want to have an open discussion about what you guys would like to see. That's my plan for today. I think we should pull up like the EA blog. If there's a particular trailer or other creators' video you think we should watch, I'm open to that as well. So there's a lot that I want to dive into today to make sure that we cover all of our bases. Does that make sense? That's kind of where my thoughts are at. So, but yeah, happy Sunday. Thank you guys for tuning in. That's on the docket for today. That's kind of what I have in play, what I'm thinking about. So, all right, that being said, Caleb in the building too. What's going on, man? Good to see you, broski. Hope you and the family are doing well. Clink in the building. Happy Sunday. Hope you and the family are doing well. I'm excited for tomorrow. It's going to be insane. So, okay, let's start with the timing of this week. How's that sound? We'll start with kind of how my week is setting up. First and foremost, I'm coming down with a cold at the worst possible time. I'm pretty sure my toddler son has given me some germs because I'm starting to feel sick slowly but surely. It's been kind of creeping up on me all weekend. But, so, I have work tomorrow on Monday. Everybody is fired up because if you pre-ordered the game, you can get the game early tomorrow. Apparently, your PlayStation can download it as early as like 4 o'clock Eastern. So, I'll have my PS5 in rest mode so it downloads and that we're good to go. I'm going to come home from work, and then around this same time, my hope is that we will be live tomorrow night, around this time, opening up the game, getting our first look at it. I'm going to probably avoid other creators just to not spoil my like first initial reactions. I've seen some other stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff, but in terms of like my initial reactions, I'm going to try to do them here live with you guys. And then we'll get into here just in a minute with what my thoughts are for what we're going to do with your guys' feedback. But that's the plan. So we'll stream Monday night. And then here's the big news. You ready? Make sure you're listening. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I took off of work. I'm off work all week. So we have nothing but time all week long to dive in. And depending on what we land on with the plan, we may be able to get through multiple seasons this week. I don't know. It depends on what we end up coming up with, but it's going to be hot and heavy content here on the channel. Live streaming college football 25. That's how fired up I have been for this game and for the release date. This has been months in the making that I've been messing around with this. So I'm super pumped. Make sure you have the notifications turned on all week long because we'll be live and we'll be doing whatever the series is. The first handful of episodes will be here on the channel live instead of pre-recorded and edited like I did much of the Marshall series. Does that sound fair? Okay. Any feedback you have, this is a good time to jump in, right? This is a good chance to talk about it. So, Kangwin asks a good question. Are your thoughts going into the game being growing a school or growing a coach? Well, first and foremost, I plan to be exclusively a Dynasty mode guy. I don't plan on playing anything other than Dynasty, right? So we'll be diving into Dynasty, and as you go through here on the blog post, and I will zoom it in a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. As we scroll through, the first thing you kind of get a chance to do is you get to build a coach. You get to build a coach is the first step. So, as you guys know, if you followed the series for a long time, I personally love realistic dynasties. and I'm going to pull up my doc to make sure that I'm hitting all of the things I wanted to touch on. So, since I was a little kid, when I first started playing college football, my head was always at, I want this to be realistic. Like, I want to have all of the players' names, jerseys, heights, weights perfect, especially when I was, young and had time and I was Ohio State. I would like meticulously grab a roster out of the program that you would get from going to the games, and I would make sure that every player's hometown was edited. I would make sure that the jersey number for the true freshman, third on the depth chart linebacker was the right thing. Like, I've been a psychopath since I was a kid about stuff like that. And this is no different. The Jerod Mayo experience in the Marshall dynasty in my head was always a story about what Coach Mayo was doing. So my boys Frank and my boys Ricky, Frank and Ricky, my two closest friends in real life, they were always watching this series and they were always chatting me up like, nobody cares about the coach. We care about the players. We care about the school you're at. And I don't disagree. But in my head, even when I was a kid, I would pull up a dynasty and I would not be able to put my name in. Like, I would always use my dad's name, or I would make up a name, or I would use the name of a friend of mine. Like, I don't like to inhabit the coach like as me. I like the coach to be somebody out there in the ether, and we're sort of like unraveling their story. It's weird. I don't know how else to describe it, but I've always approached my dynasties as realistic as possible, and from like the decision making that would happen is going to be someone else's call. And so the Jerod Mayo Marshall thing, if you remember the very first episode in that series, and I'll go back here for a second, the very first episode is about Coach Mayo. The first couple minutes of the first episode is trying to explain that Coach Mayo is this linebacker from Tennessee, was an NFL Super Bowl champion, and he was getting a chance to coach in the NFL as a position coach, and he was coming down to college to take over Marshall and to go and take Marshall to whatever they were going to be. And to be honest, we were just starting at Marshall. There was no real path. I mean, he was a Tennessee alum, so Tennessee could have technically been on the table, but it was always going to be about Coach Mayo and what would a coach do. And there became a point where, between feedback from you guys, feedback from some of my best friends, that people were so locked into the Marshall thing. They were loving it so much, they didn't want me to change. They didn't want me to leave. So, and I can get that. I can get behind that. I understand. So, but I'll tell you this off rip. What we do here, my goal to make this series different than the Marshall series, as much as I fell in love with the Marshall series, with College Football 25 and how much time and energy they have spent building out the game, building out the different entrances that are unique to each school, the traditions, the jerseys, everything. I kind of want to bounce. Just a little bit. I want to bounce around just a little bit. And what I mean by that is, like, I want to keep it realistic, because coaches in real life, as they're coming up and building themselves up, they coach at a lot of different locations. So I think I want to bounce around a little bit and then ultimately land at like a 5-star program versus build a 2-star up into a 5. You're going to have a ton of creators you can watch that are going to be doing a 1-star rebuild or taking, a 4-star team and bringing them back to glory. I kind of am coming from this angle where I think I'd like this story to be about a particular coach's journey through the coaching carousel and to finally like leading a team to glory, right? So that's kind of where my head has been at as I've been thinking about it, as I've been watching a lot of the trailers and a lot of the information. So I'll stop there. What do you guys think about that idea, right? Because like you can go to a like literally hundreds of other creators on the platforms to sort of like follow along with one team the entire time. My thought is we'll pick a coach and we'll follow that coach's journey through maybe a couple different stops. And my initial thought, which I'll fully reveal here in a second, I'm not even sure that I want to start as the head coach. Like, I'm like 90% sure I don't want to be a head coach off the rip. And we'll dive into why. But like, I want to really grind out through these live streams, where can we end up as a coach? I just feel like the payoff is going to be so much better. Like, the Marshall thing was great. I absolutely fell in love with that series, and I fell in love with that program, and those players are super special to me. But I also think we can do a lot more justice of like college football as a whole, and sort of still quench my personal thirst for realism if we kind of maybe move through a little bit more, and be a little more open to changing schools, taking opportunities. I'll find a balance. I'll tell you that. I know my boy Frank is in the chat. I will find a balance between, like, we get invested into the players, but I also want to be able to move so that we ultimately would tell a realistic story. I'll tell you a funny story. My guy Frank, shout out to my boy Only Franks, by the way. He's in here as Only Franks, but his new account on iDaughter just got monetized. So Frank, if you can still hear me, comment in your other platform, because Frank is going to be creating on NCAA 25 as well, and he just got himself monetized on his channel. So I remember when Frank was playing a series in COVID with the Ohio Bobcats, and he had a Heisman Trophy winning fifth-year senior who came back and was going to be like the starter again. And I actually I didn't force him. He chose to, but I forced him to cut the player because the player with normal NCAA 14 never declared for the draft. He was like a 3 or 4 year starter. He had already won the Heisman. I think OU had already won a championship. And I remember being in Frank's chat being like, you've got to send him to the NFL. Like, he's got to go. This would never happen in real life. You would never have this guy come back. So I don't know. It's just the way I'm wired. I'm wired for, like, I want all of this stuff to be as simulation as possible. And some of my favorite creators on the platform are guys like Mr. Hurricane and Param Crow, guys who, not the expert to some extent. Like, there's lots of different flavors of college football video game creators that you can follow, and genuinely, and you probably felt it in the Marshall series, my personal style is also to be as realistic as possible. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we're going to try to strive to do. All right, I'm going to catch up on some chat. Welcome in, Bryce. Good to see you. Party Marty says the reality is still setting in that we finally made it. It's insane that the game is actually here. It really is. And to be honest, we still have to get our hands on it, but that it's not shitty. Like, that to me is insane. That the game is actually going to be pretty good and it's here. It's insane. It's insane. Changing location and streaming it early as people get banned from games in the past. Wait. Changing location and streaming it early has gotten people banned from games in the past. I don't mean changing like my internet, if that's what you meant, King. When I meant like changing locations, like where my guy ends up coaching. Mike says it's a cool idea. I love the Marshall growth, but it got repetitive being in the same school. Kangwin, that's a good point. So at a certain point, we did what we could, right? Oh, you're replying to Bryce. Okay. Are you able to change your location in New Zealand? Oh, I got you. Thank you. That's a good call. Welcome in, by the way, Bryce. Thank you, Kangwin, for answering that. Now I'm following. The Marshall thing, to me, I thought we did everything we could. We moved Marshall's conferences twice. We elevated to the hardest conference we could. We expanded the playoff. Like, at a certain point, we finished the Marshall series in 6 seasons, having won 3 straight national titles, and could not pick a harder conference. The ACC conference was the hardest conference in the game, according to the simulation. Like, we couldn't do anything else. So at that point, it wouldn't have made any sense to, transfer to like North Carolina or to so-and-so, because Marshall was already above those schools in terms of talent. So I do think the Marshall story had run its course. It was a hell of a journey that took 2 real life years, like in real time, for me to tell that full story, which I'm so proud of. But I do want to do this one a little bit differently. So yeah, so that's kind of where this is all coming from, and I'm glad we're in here chatting about it. Shout out to all, 12, 13, 14, 15 of you guys sitting and listening and getting excited for the game. The buzz is real, the hype is real, so I'm very fired up. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I'm not going to delay too much longer. I want to dive into what I plan to talk to you guys about, because I really do want your opinions on this. I'm kind of torn between two different thoughts, and I want you guys to tell me what you think. Caleb says, I'm intrigued as well because all the Twitch celebrities were streaming very early models of the game, so I'm pumped to see the little things that they clean up. Yes, absolutely, Caleb. The versions that I think we saw that were work in progress, they looked great, but I think that the final version is going to be nice. And my buddy Ricky brought up a good point in a group chat. This is the first version of the game I think that we've had ever that is going to be able to get regular patches and updates. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be able to have them know that a particular juke move is slightly OP, and they're going to be able to tune it. It's like Fortnite. One of the reasons Fortnite's had so much staying power, obviously it revolutionized the battle pass, but it also genuinely changes itself all the time. And I'm super, super happy and excited that we're going to have a game that can be tinkered with and perfected as we go through time. I hope that's EA's approach. If EA just wants to grab everybody's money and pump out the changes in next year's copy like they do with Madden, I'll be pretty upset. But so far, this development team is giving us a pretty indication that's not how they're going to do business. Ultimately, that they may have their hands tied, but I'm hoping that we get some quality of life game updates and they patch some stuff. If you pre-ordered it, Kimbro, it should already be downloaded. I think it is downloaded. I just meant that you can actually access it. Long story short, I'm gonna go streaming on my PC. I have my PS5 back downstairs. Welcome in, Dante, by the way. Appreciate you joining. And I am trying to get my PS5 to talk to my monitor right here, but this monitor was not working today. I could not get my PS5 to turn on and show me anything here. So I've got some work to do behind the scenes. So bear with me, because I think that's going to be a bit tricky. But I'll figure it out tomorrow afternoon, and then, like I said, we're going to try to be live. The spin over is back. Yeah, the spin OP is probably going to get tinkered, I would hope, Clink. It looks like it's super, super powerful. So I'd like to see that get tinkered with. But Dante, welcome in. Isaiah says you can play it early by switching to New Zealand. That's interesting. I mean, to be honest, if you guys need to do that, by all means, be careful about changing your IP address. I'm not even going to be off work at 4 o'clock. I won't be off until about 6. So it wouldn't help me to do any switching, to do anything. I won't even be home. But if you just joined, we're going to make some final decisions on our plan here in just a minute. I'm going to try to stream tomorrow night around the same time, 9 o'clock start. My toddler, my son has to get put to bed, and then I'll fire up a stream. And then I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we'll be streaming a lot this week. I'll be here all week long as my cold holds off. So that'll be super dope. I'm fired up. I'm really fired up. Okay. All right, listen up. Here's what I'm thinking for kind of the conversation that we should be having around this story and why I'm kind of landed where I landed. So where we were talking about coaches. If you haven't read through the blog, essentially the coach in College Football 25 is super important, way more important than it used to be. And I think that's a good thing. So this whole thing talks a lot about how a coach can't be great at all aspects of coaching. So you can't max out your tree like you could in NCAA 14. And you have to kind of use your coordinators to help round out your staff and make your team even more powerful. So, it talks about XP, it talks about maximum levels, but essentially, I think we're going to want to make a new coach on a new team and make that coach really important, which is where this whole idea of finding a coach and having that be the story is coming from. So, there's a couple different archetypes that we'll talk about when the game launches, and we'll figure out which one we want to pick. But in general, just know that like I'm going to really want to tell this story from the coach's perspective, right? Here's a good look at some of the coach abilities that we're going to have, skill trees that we're going to be like sort of adding points into as we go through time. If you've seen any of the trailers and stuff, all of this stuff looks pretty familiar. And there's all kinds of things that talk about like, you know, your players will not be fatigued as much, or you'll maybe get a boost in recruiting, right? Here's a recruiter ability. So we'll dive into all of that. And then of course, the game doesn't really dive into it, or the what I'm gonna say, the blog doesn't really dive into it here, but you don't have to be a head coach, which is interesting to me. And I think we're going to lean into that angle. And then it says here, like, the coaching carousel is going to play a huge role, right? So we'll have like opportunities here to go through and get coach offers and do all of that stuff. And I'm going to leave it here because I think that's the crux of what I want to tell you guys right now. Okay. So back to this camp. My thought. I love Ohio State. I'm an Ohio State diehard fan. I have been my entire life. I have multiple Buckeye helmets here in my stream setup. I got mini helmets. I got full-size helmets. I'm a crazy Buckeye nut. Doing 2 full years on NCAA football, playing only as Marshall, was great, but I also never got to play with Ohio State. And I picked the ACC conference so I didn't have to play against Ohio State. And I never ran into them in the playoff because in my sim, they were terrible. I'm not going to pick Ohio State. But I would love to pick my coach based off of a real life person who has ties to Ohio State. Just in case a chance presents itself into the future where maybe we can become a Buckeye. Like, selfishly for me, having done 2 years of NCAA 14 content, if we are looking, you know, a year from now and we're seasons and seasons along and I get the chance to go coach Ohio State, I think the story will make a little bit more sense if it's a former Buckeye who's a coach that we can use. Okay? So, with that in mind, I want to talk to you guys about 2 people. Okay, first person I want to talk to you about. You guys ready? This guy right here. James Laurinaitis. And if you're not a Buckeye fan, you may not know who this is in terms of like present tense. But James Laurinaitis, one of the best linebackers in Ohio State football history. James Laurinaitis played at OSU, got drafted, went on to play for the Rams and the Saints in the NFL. Had a really solid career. His career in college is insane, right? Check this out. So, Laurinaitis, and this, I'm going to read this out loud so you guys can give me your thoughts, right? I'm going to read this out loud. So, Laurinaitis is 37. He is a former, linebacker, played at Ohio State, went to the league, played for a long time. But in college at OSU, he was a 3-time All-American consensus, and he won a bunch of national awards. Also cool to note. So he's from Minnesota, which is interesting. Not a lot of like football powers. And his dad is a former WWE Hall of Famer from like the early 90s, late 80s. So pretty cool. So his dad was a part of the WWE. So he's like a nutcase, man. He's insane. So he goes to OSU, plays for Coach Tressel, and by the time he gets through college, he has been first team All Big Ten 3 times, an All-American twice, Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten twice. He wins the Jack Lambert Trophy twice, the Bronco Nagurski, the Lott Trophy, and the Butkus. So all of the major national awards as a player in college. What's he up to now? Well, in 2022, in real life, James Laurinaitis decided to join his buddy from his time at Ohio State, Marcus Freeman, at Notre Dame. So Marcus Freeman gets the job with the Golden Domers and calls up James as like, I need somebody to help coach the linebackers. So he's there for a full season with Marcus. Last season, in real life, 2023, Ryan Day calls him up and is like, yo, I need some help. Talk to me. Brings him from Notre Dame back to Columbus. He's a GA, so he can't recruit, but he's a part of the defensive coaching staff. And now this year, he's set up to be the linebackers coach for the first time. And he's killing it. He's like absolutely killing it on the recruiting trail. So there's an incredibly bright future for a former Buckeye football player who is an active coach with aspirations in the industry. So my thought is we could pick James Laurinaitis. We could be a defensive like stalwart. We could like lead a defensive juggernaut. He would have a lot of cachet with players as a former NFL guy, as a really talented college player. And then we could see what happens. He could go be the defensive coordinator at some school, and then we would just kind of like play out his career, right? We could just play out his career and see what becomes of James Laurinaitis, the player and the coach, right? So, what do you guys think? What's your gut reaction on that idea? I'll start there. What do you guys think? It's going to be funny when you get your first head coaching offer from Michigan. I will decline that so fast, Kingwin. I can promise you right now, ain't nothing happening with me going to Michigan with any of these scenarios and storylines. This guy was an absolute beast in college. He was, Marty. You're all over it. Best middle linebacker that we had in my lifetime. You're right, Klinko. You're all over it. Laurinaitis was the bomb. I think I remember him from the Rams. Yeah, he played in St. Louis for a good little while. I think like 4 or 5 seasons he was there. It surprised me he wasn't a first-round pick. Yeah, I think he went in the second round, I want to say. He turned it into a good career. He led the NFL in tackles one season. In 2012. So he was fine. He was fine as a he's not a Hall of Famer in the NFL, but he was solid. Okay, so it seems like you guys are kind of down with that idea. That's good. I appreciate that. Hold that in your mind. Defensive, up-and-coming coach who also has Buckeye ties, right? James Laurinaitis. Okay, next one. And this one's a bit of a sleeper. You guys probably don't know. Most people don't really know who this is, but I think it could be pretty cool. All right, here we go. Second one. Kenny Guyton. So Kenny Guyton is a former Buckeye quarterback who played, and you can see in this picture, he played in the Braxton Miller era. He basically was like Braxton's backup for the better part of their time together. Braxton got all the accolades and all the attention, but the backup behind him the whole time was Kenny Guyton, who, to Buckeye fans, is like a bit of a living legend. Kenny Guyton like came in at one point in like crunch time of a game for an injured Braxton and ended up like winning a game that went to overtime. Basically, it was Urban Meyer's last season, and Kenny G, smooth jazz Kenny G, as they like to say, he ended up like being like a pretty good, like reliable backup QB at OSU. And it ended up being a really cool story. And a lot of Buckeye fans still love Kenny Guyton to this day. Skaken's in the building, Pokemon fan. What's going on, guys? Good to see you. I'm just kind of walking through some scenarios of what we're going to do for our dynasty. So hang in there. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. Happy Sunday to you. So you got some pictures, right? Kenny played. He didn't play a ton, but he played a little bit. He had some really heroic moments in Columbus as a Buckeye, and he's beloved in Columbus. Okay, here's the interesting angle. Kenny Guyton is currently 33 years old. He is originally from Houston, Texas, and he is currently the wide receivers coach for Wisconsin. So he's in the Big Ten coaching wide receivers. And most recently after that, he was the interim offensive coordinator at Arkansas. So Kenny plays at OSU. He He gets an undrafted opportunity with the Buffalo Bills for a season to play in the NFL, but it never really materializes. He decides in 2014 he wants to go into coaching. He originally starts out as a GA under Tom Herman at Houston, which is a really weird spot. But he, like, all the Buckeye fans are like, okay, cool. Kenny Guyton wants to get into coaching. He goes and is a GA. He also coaches wide receivers for a little bit. He also went to Louisiana Tech and Colorado State. And then next thing you know, he's back, or he's at Arkansas, and he sticks for a few years. So he's been a wide receivers coach, even though he was a quarterback in college. And for a portion of last year, he was an offensive coordinator at Arkansas. In 2024, he's scheduled to be the wide receiver coach for Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. But hear me out. We're talking about a guy who's 33, who has a bright future in coaching, who has ties to Ohio State, and who has already had a shot at being an offensive coordinator at a big school, Arkansas. This is my personal favorite. I would love to make our coach in College Football 25, Kenny Guyton, take over, like, don't go to Wisconsin. His 2024 situation will be as the Arkansas offensive coordinator. Let's just say in 2023, they remove the interim tag. He does a good job, and now he's there in 2024. And then all of a sudden, Kenny Guyton is the coach. And we ride the Kenny Guyton, like, story from that point. I don't know how long we'll be there, but we play as Arkansas. I'll only call offensive plays. Like, I'll try to do it as, like, legit as possible. We'll only get a chance to call the offense. We'll be the offensive coordinator. And then the reason why I like this story in general is because I don't want to choose a team. I loved Marshall. I did the video that's been really popular here on the channel about the 5 teams you should pick for your dynasty. There's all kinds of great options. SMU, Tulane, Boise State. You can pick so many great schools to rebuild. But I haven't heard anybody take the angle of they're just going to, like, let the game choose. And what I mean by that is I want to play 1 or 2 seasons as the offensive coordinator at Arkansas and then turn around and go through the coaching carousel like we were looking at, and let the coaching carousel decide what team we're going to root for. I think that that's a fun idea. I think it's an interesting angle that nobody I've really seen on YouTube is really taking. And, like, we'll just let this whole thing dictate our story. We'll see what happens after Kenny Guyton, like, has a chance to be the coach for a minute, and whatever offers he can get after having, like, some success at Arkansas, that'll be what we get. I'm assuming we'll get, like, some MAC teams. We'll get some lower rated, like, you know, P4 school options. Like, who knows what'll happen? But I think that's the best way to do it for me. I don't really want to pick specifically. I kind of want the game to pick in 2025 for me and really get a chance to use the coaching carousel. The other thing is we'll get a chance to get a feel for things like recruiting without needing to have the first recruiting classes when we're all learning how to play the game be like the guys we're stuck with for 4 or 5 years, right? So, like, my worry is we get into College Football 25 with their whole new recruiting thing, and then all of a sudden we are missing out on recruits because we don't know what we're doing. And then our first recruiting class, if we were to start as head coach at a small school, sets us back horribly. Like, that's what I don't want to have happen. So I think that gives us a chance to sort of, like, get our toes into major college football games. Like, you know, Kingwin said, Auburn and Arkansas will play. We'll probably get a chance to see a ton of different schools and different environments. And then all of a sudden, we'll take over our own program. And I'll have you guys help me decide what offers are the best ones. And we'll make a decision on what program we want to take over as the head coach. And then, you know, go from there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's kind of like, I've done some brainstorming and I've looked at some videos from people, and I've kind of studied sort of what are some of the things that they're talking about are important elements, the coach and the coaching tree being a big one. And now I'm thinking, like, in order to have success here in recruiting, we should just kind of, like, you know, get our feet wet as an OC, see where the coaching carousel takes us, and then take over our program from there in season 2, season 3, versus me picking a team tonight or, you know, tomorrow, and then we just ride blindly into the into the abyss with that. What do you guys think? You know, that's kind of where my head's at. I want to make sure we have a good series. I want to make sure we have some fun. And I think that's a good way for us to sort of equally, you know, decide on who we want and experience the game in its fullest, right? We'll get a chance to see some real teams. We won't be stuck at like App State for years and years, never seeing like tough road environments and tough games. So I'm thinking I'll be an offensive coordinator. I'll play as the offense only. We'll see sort of how the team does, and then we'll see what job offers we get in the first couple years, and then go from there. We good with that? What do we think? It's 9:45 on a Sunday night. We've chatted for about 45 minutes, but I think that's kind of what I'm thinking. How do you guys feel about that? Kangwin says, I love that idea. Mike says, cool idea. Okay. Some good early indications from you guys, which I appreciate. Okay. I'm just checking my phone here to make sure my wife doesn't have any questions for me. Make sure that the little boy is not causing us any trouble, you know. Okay, I'm looking at my little notes for what I wanted to talk about here on the stream tonight, and I think that covers it. Like, we can definitely take a look at a few more things if you guys want, but like in general, those are the things I really wanted to make sure I said to you guys. Was, you know, those pieces of the puzzle for what I think we could do, for what I think could be a really fun program. So I know that the live streams that the game has been having, that the like official program page have been insane. So that's been pretty cool. I know that has been something I've been really excited about. So let me see here if I can find. There's I saved a tweet the other day of a really cool tool that I think could be useful to us. So let me see if I can log into Twitter and see if I can find that post. Oh man, I don't know where it is. A guy on Twitter had he had put together like this tool where all of the teams that you could possibly choose from in the game had like a breakdown. They had like how many championships the team has won, you know, how, just like all of this stuff. I think it could be a useful tool. We could figure out like what the history was at Arkansas. I'll probably look it up and talk about it a little bit too. But if you were going to use that for one of your dynasties, I think that could be super fun. So Party Marty likes it. I appreciate it. A great idea indeed. Thank you, man. Thank you. Starting in the SEC will show off the game and stadiums. Exactly, Kangwin. Like, I think, let me look at the Arkansas schedule for 2024. Let's take a look at that. Because, like, as much as I love what we had going on at Marshall, there's like big parts of college football that we just like didn't get to see. You know what I mean? We just never got a chance to take a look at them. So I'm assuming that this is right relative to what'll be in the game. This is from the Arkansas website. So Arkansas starts with Pine Bluff. Then they're on the road in Stillwater against Oklahoma State. Back at home against UAB. Week 4 at Auburn. That's awesome. So there you go, Kangwin. That's Kangwin's favorite team. Week 5, back at home against Texas A&M. Week 6, Tennessee. And then we got... I was like, wait, why is this weird? That's a neutral site game, it looks like. Week 7 is our bye. Week 8 would be LSU. Week 9, Mississippi State. Week 10, Ole Miss. Texas, Louisiana Tech, and Missouri. So we duck out on Alabama. We duck out on Georgia. But we would get to see Texas A&M, Auburn, Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, and Texas in year 1 of the series. So we'd get Quinn Ewers, you know, we would get a lot of cool environments. We'd get a lot of cool road games. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be really cool. Go ahead, Marty. I'm good. I'm just kind of chilling. So go ahead and ask your question. Thank you guys for hanging out and being in the chat. So that's kind of what I'm leaning. I think that would be really fun. I don't know much about Arkansas. The only time I've ever like engaged with Arkansas fans was actually like Ohio State played Arkansas in a bowl game when I was in college, and like their fans just like scream out "Woo Pig Suey" all the time. That'd be crazy. So, Greg Marshall in the chat. What's up, Greg? Good to see you. I think you should choose Syracuse, and they have Kyle McCord, and you could put the ACC back on the map and make it a football conference. Greg, you're killing me. You're absolutely killing me. I don't know if you're trolling or joking. I'm a huge Ohio State fan, and the idea of having to sit through the Kyle McCord experience for another however long as a Buckeye fan, even if it's virtual, would probably send me to my grave. No, to be honest, Kyle, here's my genuine take. If you're a Syracuse fan, I'll say it this way. I think Kyle was a little overrated coming out of high school. Marvin was so good. They were high school teammates. Marvin was so good. I think it masked a lot of Kyle's shortcomings. And Kyle never really sort of blossomed in Columbus sitting behind CJ. And so I think Syracuse is a really good program fit for a guy like Kyle. He's a little more quiet. The spotlight isn't quite as hard. It's a bit of a basketball school. He could go there and have a lot of success, which would be great. I think Ohio State competing for championships, trying to dig itself out of its Michigan hole, it's a tough spot for Kyle, and Kyle is way more understated and laid back. You kind of need somebody fiery and a little bit crazy to be the quarterback at OSU to put up with what's going on. So I won't be picking Syracuse to run with, but I do hope Kyle has a little bit of success in Syracuse. And one of my best friends is a big Syracuse fan, so I'll be sort of pulling for them through him. Okay, Marty, your question. As far as the Big Ten, are they still going to have divisions with all the new additions? So no, the Big Ten is doing away with their divisions. So I don't know exactly what math and science they're using to build their schedule, but they're maintaining like, a 10-game conference schedule, but you're just going to rotate through everybody, and you have to play everybody like once every 3 seasons or something. And you have like 1 or 2 protected rivals. And they released that list a couple years ago, but Ohio State's only protected rival was Michigan. So Ohio State, Michigan will always play, but Ohio State won't always play Penn State or USC or Nebraska or any of those. Like, everybody else will just be mixed up, and then Ohio State will play Michigan every year, for example. So it's going to be crazy in the Big Ten, and who knows how long it's even going to be the Big Ten as we know it, right? Like, it might be like 2 minutes later, and we'll just be like, it'll be a completely different situation, you know what I mean? And a bunch of new schools will be in, and then we'll be all back to what we were talking about. So, yeah. So anyway, so that's a good question. That's what they're doing with the Big Ten, actually. Ty in the chat, what's up, Ty? Says West Virginia. West Virginia's not a bad option. I wouldn't be opposed to West Virginia at some point in the dynasty. It would be a little blasphemous for me to be a Marshall guy and then have to go and pick West Virginia. So I don't think I'll be actively seeking West Virginia out. But they play in a big conference, and they are a popular team to rebuild. Mike says, what do you think of Will Howard to lead Ohio State? Mike, I kind of like it. So I'll tell you, from CJ and Kyle, it hasn't been since Ohio State had Justin Fields. And the Justin Fields that we remember from the first few years in the NFL who ran like crazy wasn't the Justin Fields at OSU. So you got to go all the way back to like a JT Barrett since the last time Ohio State really had a running threat at quarterback. And what's like chopped Ohio State out at the legs the last few years from winning has been they've been really bad in short yardage situations, converting first downs and not being in like obvious passing downs. Their running game has been a little bit boom or bust. They haven't been able to consistently march it on somebody all game long down the field to score points. They've been, relying on deep shots to first round pick wide receivers or turning the ball over or punting. So I think Will Howard and his running ability will be a really nice addition to the Ohio State offense, and I think it's going to make it really hard, especially if the defense is as good as it looks like it's going to be. So I'm very excited as a Buckeye fan to watch and see what's going to happen. I couldn't bring myself to do a series just taking over at Ohio State in this game, but if I find time outside of being live on YouTube, which I don't expect to, I'll probably do something with Ohio State on the side. Kendall in the chat, what's going on? Kendall says Nebraska. That's a solid pick. I've got a couple good friends, a guy I work with and a guy I know from Twitch back in the day who are diehard Nebraska fans. And while I'm disappointed that Dylan Raiola decommitted from Ohio State and ultimately chose to go to Nebraska, it's a good fit for him. He's a legacy there. His dad was like his jersey is like retired or something at Nebraska. Dylan's dad is, so it makes sense. I don't think I want to go straight to Nebraska. I'd much rather like build our way to get to the Big Ten versus just picking a team in the Big Ten. I know I'm picking a team in the SEC, but I'm going there as a coordinator instead of a head coach. So Nebraska's a good one, but we'll see. Greg says, I think this is the year Ohio State wins the Natty. The 12-team playoff thing is scary. You got to stay healthy for so long, and I'm a little nervous that Ohio State will run into issues, right? So I'm not sure how healthy we'll be able to stay, but if we're able to stay healthy, I think Ohio State's as deep and as talented as anybody in the country. So I think it could be very, very interesting. I think it could. In the end, it's going to be the SEC, ACC, and Big Ten. You mean with the conferences? Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not even sure if we'll have an NCAA, to be honest, by the end of this. I don't even think we will. Can you show all the prestige stars? Jarvis, welcome in, by the way. What do you mean by show them? Like, I don't have the game yet, so there's nothing I can really, like, show. I don't know what the game is rating some of the prestige of the teams are. You know what we can do? I want to look at Eric Rayweather's video real quick. We can watch that together. Eric did like a video today about equipment, and I don't really care about listening to it, like being able to listen to it. I just kind of want to see it. So I'll throw this up in the background as we talk about stuff. So keep asking your questions, but I'll throw up this video from Eric, and we can kind of like keep talking. But I want to see some of this stuff. My boy Emeka Ibuka. Oh, off the bat, the fact that you've got the Jordan 1s in here, that's fire. The cleats look like they're going to be insane. There's so many cleats over here. It's going to be awesome. I'm not entirely sure how I'm feeling about the 12-team playoff. I wonder if the NCAA would lower the number of teams if it doesn't pan out. It's a good question, Party. I got to imagine at this point the cat will be out of the bag and they're going to have to just run with it because of like money, like TV rights and stuff, and the way they're going to adjust the bowls. I'm a little skeptical. Like, I think that my team personally, Ohio State, is not helped by the 12-team playoff because we were regularly able to get into the 4-team playoff. All you needed to do was win 2 games, and now it's going to be that much harder. But a team, if I'm a fan of like Penn State, or I'm a fan of, let's see, who else has been right there? I'm trying to think of like SEC schools. If I'm a fan of Clemson, if I'm a fan of Florida State, if I'm a fan of like an old LSU, if I'm a fan of those schools, I am over the moon about the 12-team playoff. Because all I need is a chance to get in. And I've been right on the outside looking in. I maybe get in one every 5 years, but now I can get in regularly. So I'm not a huge fan of the 12-team playoff, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So yeah, the cleats are killer. I'm fired up for that. You got the jersey undershirt options, which I think is super cool. They're stealing this from Madden a little bit, which, you know, no shade. Looks like you got a ton of different cleat options, which is going to be so sick. And then you got the opportunity to pull the shirt up, the jersey up, which I think is going to be kind of interesting. I'm a super geek when it comes to gear. Like, I love, as you can tell, I have 2 full-size helmets over my shoulder. I'm obsessed with, helmets and jerseys and gloves and cleats, like I always have been. And so I'm gonna be really excited to see what we can do with some of this stuff in the game. But yeah, the undertucked jersey and some of like the towels and some of that stuff, even like the hoodie. This looks a little silly because obviously like the hair is coming through the hoodie and it looks kind of janky, but the fact that you can go the sleeveless hoodie on the jersey, I'm probably gonna do that like a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna like, I think that looks kind of sick, especially if we end up at a school in kind of cold weather. Like we're gonna be putting the hoodie on the back of a sick defensive player quite a bit, for sure. Who do I think will win the Heisman? Greg, I really don't know. I don't know what quarterback is going to be like in the best position. It's probably going to go to a QB, right? So I don't know who, you're going to be able to like pin down as having, Texas's schedule is super tough. Quinn is a good player, but like that's a gauntlet. You got a guy like Will. He's going to have a lot of chances, but like his odds aren't great. He's never been like that kind of guy putting up those kinds of stats. So, could you talk me into a guy like Caleb Downs on the Ohio State's defense, lead college football and lead the team in tackles, be top 10 in turnovers, and maybe if he returns punts, he has a couple touchdowns? I mean, I don't know. I think it's completely up in the air. The sock options, specifically the sock height, those look killer. I love the wrinkles here. That's fire. Kengwin says the SEC always has 2 to 4 teams in the top 12, so that'll be fun to see. Yeah, they're always going to have a lot in. The Big Ten's going to get a lot in. Those schools those conferences that typically have sent teams are clearly going to be pretty dominant still. But like I said, if you're a fan of a few select programs who were right there in that 6th, 7th, 8th spot all the time, it's go time in the 12-team playoff for sure. Texas being in the SEC is going to take some time to get used to, but I like the idea. It's going to be interesting. They're going to get tested. Like, it's time to go. You know what I mean? It's time to go for them. So you can't hide anymore in a bad Pac-12. You're going to have to really turn it up. So, Greg, I appreciate these questions. These are super fun. I love this too. You got a chance to go like the unders. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but like you could have the pants high with the legs exposed and then do socks, or you can do the compressions all the way under. I think that looks really clean. And I love how realistic it is. Like, whether or not you like some of the gear stuff, the fact that your players will look just like they look with all of the other things is just so fire. So fire. Will Michigan take a step back under a new head coach? Yes. But I'll tell you what, I think it'll be less about the coaching and more about the players. Michigan, if you paid a lot of attention, has finessed the transfer portal and has kept guys from going early to the league. And they had a mass exodus, and they really didn't do a lot to stop after the championship. The development has to continue to happen. So their quarterback situation, if you actually follow along and listen to Michigan, the QB at Michigan is going to be terrible. It's they're going to be, they don't have anybody. Actually, I was just listening to a podcast on Friday last week. The guy that's supposed to be the quarterback at Michigan this year is bouncing balls at spring practice. He's terrible. Yo, what's going on? Olin Relay? You're gonna have to tell me how to say your name, but I'll call you Junior too. What's going on? Welcome in, Cal. The Cal Bears, not bad. I didn't actually pick Cal, to be fair. I'm just looking at a video, but Cal's also a pretty solid option. You never know what they could be. I wanted to stop here and look at this because I haven't looked at Shadur and any of his stats. It says he's a 94 overall. I know my cam's blocking it, but this is an interesting screen because you've got the star development trait, and I want to learn more about traits. That's something that I don't know much about yet with the game. I've heard a lot about the, some of the mental abilities, some of the physical abilities. I've started to hear about some stuff, but I actually don't know much about the development traits and what it means over the course of time. So I'm very curious to see what's going on. Trey, welcome in. It's good to see you. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, man. That could be So, okay, let me reset because a few people are in here who are new. Long story short, my plan is to take an Ohio State former player who's currently a coach, make him an offensive coordinator, and it just so happens that the guy I'm choosing is a guy named Kenny Guyton, who's a Buckeye legend. He used to play quarterback. He is at Arkansas. So we're going to be offensive coordinator Kenny Guyton at Arkansas for the first year or two. And then depending on what the game gives me, then we're going to branch out and pick a school, like as a head coach. So I hope my title's not too misleading. I did want to workshop this whole idea with you guys, but my thought process is we're going to learn how to recruit. We're going to learn how to like play the game without having to like be the guy in charge of a team right off the rip. So we're going to offensive coordinate for Arkansas as a guy who's really actually a coach there, who also has Buckeye ties, and then we'll see what happens as his story goes along. So Western Kentucky is like on the list. Like really everybody is. Every team will be open in terms of like what I'm interested in. But what I wanted to have happen is I didn't want to recruit at a rebuild team playing the game for the first time and not have any clue what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want my year one recruiting class to be god awful at a 1-star school and then completely suck. So I'm going to start off as a coordinator, and then after year one or year two, whatever the coaching carousel gives us, we as a community will then pick the team that we're going to be head coach of, probably in a live stream like this. So that's the plan, and we're just kind of like talking and looking at some content here, just kind of chatting as a community. So, but Trey, welcome in. Ola, appreciate you, man. Thanks for clarifying. Donovan's going to have to carry the Michigan offense this year. He is, and their offensive line will probably be fine, but their quarterback situation is really bad. My boy Jedi Mike, what's up, Mike? Good to see you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping in. I love seeing all your content. Jedi Mike is an awesome creator and was the DJ at my wedding, my homie. It's good to see you, man, and keep doing what you're doing. I've loved all of your reviews and stuff on your social media for sure. Thoughts on Oregon getting unlimited NIL deals because Nike's owner wants them to get a championship? It's not just a board member, Kangwin. It is Phil Knight. It is the founder of Nike, is an Oregon guy. Ran track at Oregon in like the 70s and then started Nike as a running shoe. And now he wants to put all of the money into Oregon's NIL. And so like, I mean, as a Buckeye fan who has lost a few recruits this cycle to Oregon just because Ohio State hasn't had a big enough bankroll to give these kids at a high school NIL deals to compete with Oregon, I don't like it. I would love to see some sort of limits, but that's the world we live in, man. It's the world we live in, y'all. It's crazy. So Ola, I'm glad you like the idea. Mike, good to see you, man. I'm glad you like the idea too. Greg has been popping in some dope questions, so thank you, Greg, for putting these out here. I really appreciate it. Are you a fan of realignment, and do you think it will make or break college football? I'm not a fan of realignment, not in a traditional sense. Like this like big super conference thing I think is a little bit weird. I would much rather have like evenly spaced out regional conferences. Like, to be honest, the way that they have it in professional sports, whether it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, like I want to have, you know, the NFC North be a conference in college football. Obviously, you'd have to do it a little bit different, but like I'm more down with the geographical conference realignment, not the big super conference things. I think that's weird. Like in a 12-team playoff world, I would rather see a bunch of these teams that are proximity close to each other be in a conference together and then let them go see if they can hoist in the 12-team playoff. But so that's kind of where I'm at. It's a good question, Mike, or Greg, excuse me. You know, it's the business of college football. These schools are trying to get the best possible rates from the TV deals that they can, right? It's all a money grab. I get that. I'm not naive, but I would love to see, like, you know, all of the schools that are geographically rivals with each other continue to be and have like bragging rights in that area, just like we have division winners, right? We've got division conference winners at each of these programs. You know what I mean? Or not programs, but these professional leagues. So that would be cool. I would like that. Having a team from Boston and a team from Cal in the same conference is whack. Exactly, Greg. So like, I would love it to be, you know, you're able to maintain all of the Florida schools together, right? Or you're able to maintain all of those West Coast California schools together. I don't know what you would do when there'd be gaps. Like even like in Ohio, you wouldn't want to do a conference where Ohio State is in the same conference with like a MAC school. That's not necessarily what I'm suggesting. So you'd have to figure out some of that stuff. But in general, I do like the idea of maybe 4 or 5 major conferences that are geographically coordinated instead of like, you know, Texas and Oklahoma ditching the Big 12 to get some more cash. That sucks. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Jalen Daniels. Yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff about this game that I'm super excited for. If you guys didn't hear at the top as well, especially, you know, I gotta take it back. The videos and stuff that we've been putting out about this game have been super, super popular, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. We've added about like 500 subscribers in the last month. I ran a little ad on YouTube of a video to make sure that while the NCAA buzz was out, my video got pushed, and it's gone crazy. Like, I think we started the month of June with 8,000 subscribers, maybe 8,500, and the channel's now at 9,300. So it's been 500-600 subscribers in a 6-week window because of the buzz around this game and a really well-timed advertisement on a really, what I think is well done video. So there's a lot of new faces in the chat. There's a lot of new faces that comment on videos. I'm very grateful. It's nice to meet you guys. I'm happy to sort of have this new journey on the new game with you guys here. I'm fired up. So yeah, man, super, super excited. And I'm grateful for you guys being here. So this week, I'll just say like real quick as a recap, depending on who's here and as we wind down here. I have work tomorrow. The game drops at 4. I'll try to be live tomorrow night around the same time. We started tonight around 9 o'clock. I'm hoping to have my PS5 talking to my PC in OBS and have everything squared away. We'll fire up the game. I'll give my first official reaction to it. I'll try to avoid any spoilers from anybody else. I mean, most of us have seen the game already, but you know what I mean. I won't play it without you guys is what I'm trying to say. And then we'll stream tomorrow night. We'll get the stuff set up. We may play our first game or two. And then I'm off work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm here all week long, ready to stream. You know, we'll do a balancing act. I may stream for a big part of the middle of the day to capitalize on people who have to go to work and who are looking for streamers who are playing the game. I'll probably go live 1 or 2 nights to try to make sure that like I'm also like catching people who are trying to catch up at night. It'll be a wild week. Make sure you have, you know, the notifications turned on. Make sure you're subscribed so you get, you know, any of the updates. I'll be posting in the community tab updates of when we're going to go live, so make sure you see that. I'm Kimbroplays on all the socials as well, so I'll be posting updates of like, oh, we'll be live tomorrow at noon, we'll be live tonight at 8, whatever it is. I'll put all that stuff out there so you guys can see it, but I'm fired up. It's going to be a huge week and weekend. I'm around this weekend too. I only talked about the work week, but I'll be home. I'll be around Friday night. I'll be around Saturday night of next week too. So yeah, it's going to be good stuff, man. It's going to be really good stuff. Is the Stream Elements bot in here? He's not. And I need to talk to you about that, Kangwin, because I think I want to multi-stream. I don't want to get too inside baseball on you guys in here, but I think I want to multi-stream on Twitch and on YouTube while we're playing the new game. I just got to do some research and figure out how, because I've never actually tried it since they made it like legal or whatever. So, yeah. So anyway, let's see. We would need different conferences with promotion relegation. I wouldn't mind a promotion relegation process the way they have it in European soccer. I think it would be kind of cool. The only problem, every time I think about that idea, Kangwin, I think about Ohio State traveling to like Bowling Green or Toledo. There's just no world where Ohio State would be able to like have its whole horse and carriage and like flood of fans. They would completely overwhelm some of these cities, infrastructures, traffic, hotels, food. Like some of these towns would be just like ridiculous. You wouldn't be able to go there. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Ola says, my head coach will be from Auburn and DC with UHC. Hell yes, you're going to do two separate series. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I will be hard pressed not to be able to do something with my Buckeyes, to be honest. But it'll be fun. The main thing I'll do here will be an offensive coordinator with you guys here on stream. Greg, good question. Arch Manning making us think for months that he wouldn't be in the game just for him to do an ad is hilarious. That was wild. Like, real talk, the Arch Manning thing, I'm like more angry that he waited and took extra money for the promo. There was like rumors that he got like 50 or 60K to do that ad. Who are you, you bum? Like, take your $600 and your copy of the game like everybody else. Maybe, an advertisement or a live stream like Shadur and like Travis Hunter did today or something. But like, to like hold everybody hostage like you're not going to be in the game and then mess around and, collect a $60,000 check to do an ad with your Uncle Eli. What a chotch bag. Straight up. What a loser. Like, I thought that was the corniest shit that I'd ever seen. Like, the commercial itself was fine, but like the whole saga. I don't even care if you're in the game, you bum. I'm out. I'm out on Arch Manning. Now, if he hits the transfer portal, we may try to scoop him up. But like in general, I'm out. Okay, hold on. I gotta pause here. We gotta talk about some helmets. As you guys saw in my background, I fucks with helmets. So, I'm curious because the last time we had a college football game, the helmets were not like what we needed them to be. The helmets were like old. A bunch of them have been like kicked out now. Like they're like discontinued. You can't use them. They're not safe enough. So I'm very curious to see, like, the Speed Flex obviously has to be in the game. The one with the big forehead, circle that everybody wears. So I'm curious to see, but like, shout out the mouth guard. I love the mouth guard in the game. That's fire. That's something I've never played with. I haven't played Madden, full disclosure, in a couple years because I can't stand Madden because it takes my blood pressure through the roof. So I'm only coming from an NCAA 14 revamped perspective for the last 3 or 4 years. So to have mouth guards and stuff is going to be fire. Most def, he did get 60,000 or 50,000. I know, right? That's wild. How in the hell did he do that? So I don't know. I'm not how did he do it, but like, we really let this man do that? Are you serious? And yes, Clink. Then they made him an 87. Dog hasn't even thrown a pass. Like, you've not played a meaningful snap in your entire career, and you're an 87? Ain't no way. No. Is there a mascot mode in the new game? I haven't seen anything about a mascot mode. There could be one. I have yet to see one though. Ola says, which position is this right here? This actually, so I don't know Miami's roster, but this says number 7. And I'm pretty sure Restero or whatever this guy's name is, I'm pretty sure he's a wide receiver. I actually think I saw Good Game Bros video today, and this guy made a catch at wide receiver. So I think this is a wide receiver's helmet. And that's the Shut F7, which has all those weird ridges in them. So yeah, so that guy I think is a wide receiver. They probably went to him with the idea, gets extra talk of him not being in it, and then talk with the ad. It might have been his idea, or, there is a world where after he said no, he played hardball. They were like, please, we need you. And he says, yes, but here's my number. There's a chance that happened. That's probably what happened. I gotta imagine the Mannings were pulling some strings. Like, it is what it is, but I don't know. We'll see. I just thought it was corny. They did not bring the mascot game back. Okay. I mean, Clink, I'm not mad about it. That was fun and kind of a novelty. I genuinely, as a diehard Dynasty guy, I could care less about any of the other modes. Like, I'm not going to play Ultimate Team. I'm not going to play, like, if they had, like, a history mode with a bunch of, like, throwback scenarios and shit where you go relive college football's greatest moments, I'm not playing it. I'm probably not going to play Road to Glory. That's the second, like, one I would consider, but I'm going to be so all in on Dynasty that I could care less, really, about some of the other stuff. Mascot game, it's, like, fun. If it's not too hard for them to program for future games, definitely do it. But I'm glad that they did not skimp on making Dynasty as in-depth as they could, and I hope they build on it. So oh, you're running your OC with Miami? I'm not planning to run my OC with Miami, actually. I'm actually gonna do Arkansas, which is kind of crazy because I don't know shit about Arkansas. I just know that I don't even know if I have the tab still saved. It's since a few of you guys are in here now for the first time. Let me open up this tab so you guys can see what my plan is. So this is mostly for Ola and anybody else who came in late to the chat. But so I plan to use Kenny Guyton as my coach, and I talked at the beginning of the stream about, like, I'm really, like, I'm wired to have stuff be as realistic as possible. So I couldn't imagine making myself the coach and, like, doing stuff with my name. I really like to run dynasties through, like, what someone else's decisions would be. I don't know. I just find it interesting. So Kenny Guyton, shout out Party Marty. It's good to see you, man. I appreciate you stopping in today. Thanks for all the love and support, man. Have a good night. But yeah, so Ola, your question. So I'm actually going to pick Kenny, who is a former OSU quarterback from Houston. He's only 33 years old. He was Braxton Miller's backup, if you remember Braxton at OSU. And Kenny came in for a couple plays at Ohio State and, like, made himself into, like, a Buckeye legend for saving some game that was in overtime and just some shit when Braxton would get hurt. But he's actually been, ever since he tried to make the NFL in 2014, he's been a coordinator. He's been a wide receivers coach and a coordinator. So he's up and coming in the coaching game. He's 33 years old. Houston and Texas would be our pipeline as far as, like, my coach's pipeline. And it's realistic that he would get a chance to be an OC and to someday become a head coach. So I'm super fired up. We're going to go the Kenny Guyton route. There's some pics of him, like, coaching here at Arkansas. He was Arkansas's interim offensive coordinator in 2013. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. What I didn't want to do is pick someone and pick a team and not know how to recruit and completely blow my first two classes. You know what I mean? I didn't want to, like, just completely ruin our chances at building a program because I am learning the game, whether it's on the field with the gameplay or it's in the recruiting or in the menus or in the recruiting trees, like the coaches' trees. I was like, you know what? It'll be much less high stakes if we let the game tell us through the coaching carousel who we should be. So we'll get there. We'll be OC for a couple. We'll get to see some cool SEC stadiums with Kenny Guyton as our guy, and then we'll get some head coaching offers, and then we'll really dive in season 2 or season 3 as we take over a place. Yeah, so definitely a story to be told with that coach. And I said at the top, selfishly, I did 6 years. If you didn't follow, I did 6 years. 6 seasons as Marshall's, like, head coach in an NCAA 14 revamp here on the channel. It's one of the most popular things we've ever done. And my Marshall series I loved, but I was stuck at Marshall for 6 years, and, like, we never got a chance to go anywhere else, which is fine. I was happy to tell the Marshall story to its completion, but I really want to bounce around a little bit more and see more of college football. And I want the natural outside chance that if the Ohio State coaching job ever became available, I'm going to pounce on it. And that's just, like, me selfishly, having been a creator on YouTube for a couple years, having so much Buckeye pride. I went to school there. Like, I've got all the fucking gear. I think it would be sick to eventually be able to bring Kenny back to Columbus as a bright young head coach to take over the Buckeyes after Ryan Day. So IO, Mike, that's right, baby. So we'll see. That's like pipe dream. Like, that's something that'll be sitting in the back of my head. If we get offers to other schools or we end up somewhere else, like, he's from Houston, Texas. So, who knows? Maybe we take over for Steve Sarkisian and we're a Texas Longhorn legend or something. I don't know. But to have a natural tie to Columbus to give us a chance if Ohio State in my sim is bad. I've got to give myself a chance with the new game, right? Because I've got to give myself a chance to get in there and play in Columbus. So anyway, so that's kind of our deal. So this week, I got to work tomorrow. I'll be on late. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then sometime on the weekend, we're going to be banging out this first season. And using Arkansas, we're only going to play offense at Arkansas while we're with Kenny. And then as we take over a program, we'll do the full-fledged thing. But that's kind of the plan. So that's what we came up with on tonight's stream, and I'm super fired up. I think it's gonna be so fun. So, okay, I'll keep this video running in the background. I missed a question from Greg. I think NIL needs to be more regulated because universities giving millions of dollars to recruits just 5 years ago would have been program penalization or suspension. Exactly. I think I like NIL. I'm pro NIL for the players. I do, however, want NIL to be like regulated, like in some form or fashion. Whether it's like teams submit a budget or we put a max on high school specifically. I think the problem is when you are able to use NIL to recruit guys to come to your school. I think if it's a player who already is an adult, who is already in college, where there's jersey sales and there's TV revenue. I think where it gets really messy is when you're dropping bags of cash on the heads of 16, 17-year-olds fresh out of high school who haven't even left high school yet and their families. Like, the minute you get on campus, okay, let's say it this way. The same way Major League Baseball, same way NFL and NBA have a rookie wage scale where first-year players can only earn so much, right? Like the first overall pick in the NFL draft, that number is set. He doesn't get to negotiate that. That's the number. Like, I would love to see it where, like, either by star rating, that's too subjective. A school can allocate what number they want to a player, but that player, like, it only can be paid out as they go through their freshman year, for example, or something. It can't be in high school ahead of them signing or anything like that. I think something like that would be a little bit more fair, because then teams would have to balance their books a little differently instead of, just following cash as an NIL foundation drops money on you. That to me doesn't make as much sense. Why would a 5-star go to a small school when they could get a bag from Georgia or Alabama? Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's going to always make it a rich get richer type scenario, and I don't think that's very fair. So this is interesting. I just noticed. I don't want to leave that point, but it looks like old helmets are in the game still. Like, a few of these helmets are, and that makes sense. If you're going to have some retro players, you're going to need a variety of helmets in the game to show, different eras of football. So that's actually kind of fun. And then one of my favorite things is, what do we do with the visors? You got the smoke, you got the Oakley clear, you got the regular clear. I mean, they're kind of fire. The Oakley Prism with a little bit of tint on them. Oh yeah. I'm going to be all over this. Technically, Ohio State's a Nike school and have Nike visors. So I'm not actually sure what's going to happen with all of that, but I think it's actually pretty fire that you've got the visors. I'm going to be decking players out for sure. You know that. We'll kind of keep this running and get your final few questions in, and we'll wrap up the stream. I'm fired up about how tonight's stream went, and I'm grateful for you guys. But I do want to make sure that we end on a reasonable time tonight so we can get back at it again tomorrow night. You know what I'm saying? Do I buy into the hype of Colorado? No. I like what Dion is trying to do to some degree. I think he's going about it a really weird way, a really combative, cocky way that I just don't really like. He would be so much more of a cool ambassador to the sport if he wasn't such a jerk. And same with his sons. They're like kicking kids out in the transfer portal, saying they're not good enough. It's just, I understand the competitiveness, but the Dion thing at Colorado, I think, is being handled in such poor taste that I don't really like it. And I don't think that they're very good. Like, I think football, even though the transfer portal can be useful, is still it's still a game of continuity. It's still a game of chemistry, and you just like adding a bunch of free agents like it's a pickup basketball game. You deserve to lose some if your guys don't know how to play together. So, I will not be upset if Colorado, continues to have 4-8 seasons in perpetuity. I won't be mad. They can go 500 for the rest of Dion's coaching career, and I'll be fine. Good question though, Greg. Are you getting food? So Kangwin, I'm gonna think about how I want to handle the streams throughout the day. I'm thinking what we'll do is, let's say I start a stream at 10 a.m. As I get hungry, I'll probably like go up and make some food or DoorDash something, and then we will pause our game. We'll pull up somebody else who's streaming, watch them while I eat, and then get back to our game. So I do plan to go live and stay live for big stretches of the day this week. Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be fun, man. I cannot wait to do this whole thing with you guys. It's gonna be insane. Lots of tape and what am I trying to say? Eye black. Lots of options there. It's pretty sick. Here we go. We got the half sleeves again. The shooter sleeve. Those look good. I like that. The full shooter sleeve, I think, looks cleaner than the half sleeve. I'm off this week. If you need any help, Kangwin, that's huge. I'll DM you. We'll see how it goes. We haven't had any issues like we talked about earlier in messages, but I think it'd be pretty sick if we link up and make sure nothing stupid goes on this week. So I'm glad you told me that. I'll keep you in lockstep with my plans. And Dylan, what's going on? Can you play now with pre-order if you set your time zone to New Zealand? You might be able to, actually. I'm not, because I got to go to bed and I got to work tomorrow. But for anybody who's off tomorrow who wants to not wait until 4 o'clock Eastern, I say, be careful, but try it. I'm also off if you need help. Okay, Clink. Fuck yes. Okay, cool. I'll probably DM you too. Kangwin and I were talking about just like making sure like if people go wild in the chat in terms of like mod stuff. So to not have to have Kangwin be like so burdened with watching, I might reach out to you too, Clink, and see if when you're in here you can help out at all. This screen, by the way, looks gorgeous. The jerseys look fantastic. The wrinkles and stuff on all of the armbands and stuff look fantastic. I think this is some of my favorite stuff. It always was. The gear was always up there for me, and it is so dope. That it looks so good for this game. I can't wait. You still get the elbow pads. That's hilarious. And you got the rubber pad, and you got the full brace. You got the Gronk sleeve. You got that big old pad. That's cool. Nice. Yeah. You got the real tough stuff. Oh, the Buckeye jerseys look so fucking good. Oh, I gotta find a way to get to Columbus. I gotta play with the boys in this game. It looks so good. I've never been a double wristband fan. The double stack wristbands, I think, look really kind of weird. I don't know. Not my flavor. I'm more of an arm sleeve guy or a wrist tape guy. But the red on red does look smooth. I'm not even gonna lie. The team, they're nailing the team colors. That is clean. Nice. You got the wrist tape over the glove for the offensive lineman. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it. Yeah, it looks good. I'm just gonna wait and see. I want to see some more of the shoes and the legs, and then we'll wrap up. You guys are the bomb. Thanks for hanging out tonight, man. This has been so fun. I didn't really have any plans. I had some loose notes that I wrote down. I knew I wanted to come out here and just chat with you guys. I wasn't gonna play anything tonight, and it's exceeded my expectations with all your guys' support. So thank you for that. And this week is gonna be a blast. It absolutely is. Lots of glove options. Looking good. Oh, also kind of noted, I remember because the ACC patch is there for Clemson. When you change conferences in this game, they're going to update the field and the jersey patch, which I think is so fire. That's so cool. So I can't wait to see how that works. If we ever land at a school and we're there with Kenny Guyton for a minute and we stay there, like, I think it'd be super sick to be able to have the patches change. That was something that always broke the fourth wall for me on the Marshall series. You know, we would play at Marshall and I think we were still in the Sun Belt on our jersey, but we were like ACC champions for the third year in a row or whatever. I just hated that. That always killed it for me a little bit. You know, always killed me for a little bit. All right, so let's see if I can fast forward through this a little bit. This is just a ton of gloves. What else we got? Eric, lots of glove options. Oh, the North Carolina powder blues look great. Those do look good. The Jordan brand stuff looks good. That looks so fire. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but that navy blue, that dark navy and that gold, that is a good looking jersey, man. Yeah, that is sick. That is absolutely sick. I cannot wait to find a cool school. Okay, here we go. We talked about Boise State. We talked about Boise State in my my video about the top teams to try to rebuild, and I think the jersey combinations from Boise State are some of the best of like a small school that you can rebuild. There's some others that are similar to this, but the blue and orange always pop, and then the blacks and the grays that they have as alternates that you can pair with the blue and orange, absolutely fire. So there's a world where Kenny Guyton goes and takes over at Boise State. Okay, you got the QB sleeves. Okay, so you got the loose QB sleeves, and you also have the like tighter QB sleeves, which is interesting. And then you got the rolled jersey, which is pretty funny. I wonder if you can roll the jersey of like a heavier set defensive tackle, because that'd be kind of funny. You got the standard black backplate. What are they? Oh, it's the backplate. Okay, I see. Nice. Caleb Downs with the rolled jersey. You got, okay, nice. We got the neck rolls. Yep. You got the big vintage one as well. That's fire. Those look so funny. You know, hey, to each their own though. And it's cool because you'll have it for the other stuff. Okay, nice. So the pad size is a size. That's a nice quality of life change. I don't know how much you guys can see behind my camera, but the shoulder pads is not on a slider anymore. You actually have like small, medium, large, extra large. That's actually pretty dope. So, yeah, that's a cool change. I'm glad that they did that. Greg says, thanks for taking the time to chat with us tonight. I'm very happy I stumbled upon your channel today. I'm looking forward to watching your stream. Yo, thank you so much, Greg. I really appreciate, like, genuinely, content creator to chat. Really thoughtful questions. Gave me a lot of things to think about. I think it took us in some really interesting directions. So I really appreciate you, Greg. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So, yeah, I want to flip through the last 5 minutes of this video from Eric, see some of the final steps, but yeah, we'll wind it down here just shortly. Yo, Goldmouth Twin, what a great name. What's going on? Welcome in. We're just talking about a little college football 25. We've made our plans for what we want to do, and now we're going to just kind of like see. I'm watching a video of some of the equipment. We're just wrapping up the stream. We'll be back tomorrow night. But okay, so you got the undershirt option. That's fire. You got the t-shirt. You got the compression t-shirt paired with the rolled up jersey, and then you got the hoodie, which looks fire. The sleeveless hoodie underneath with it is a pretty cool look too. So I'm really fired up for some of these options. I'm very impressed. Okay, nice. You can get a baggy arm sleeve as well. That's cool. That looks like a hoodie sleeve, which is interesting because that's different than the shooter sleeve. So you can make it look like you have the full underneath. I like that. Hold on. I can't zoom past that. Like, that's pretty fire. So you got Caleb Downs in the rolled jersey with the hoodie, but the hoodie option is sleeveless in the menus. So you can pair the hoodie under the shoulder pads with the baggy arm sleeve, but it's not really a sleeve. It'll function like the hoodie's sleeve, which looks so clean. That is a gorgeous gear set right there. I love that. That is what's up. Twin says, I'm loving the new feature it has. Yeah, man, this is going to be so dope. Like, I cannot wait to dive in here and get going on all this. And like I said a few minutes ago, this base layer, like, compression thing, fire. not having to just go with socks anymore underneath. Pants above the knees, a cool option. And then we got the towels, lots of towel positions. Very cool. Towel in the front is a cool look. Yeah, that's fire. And then of course you got to have the hand warmer. You can have it in the front or the back, of course. The back looks better, actually. I don't think we used to be able to have it in the back, right? You can go with the no thigh pads. That's interesting. You got the regular, and then you got honeycomb. Interesting. I'll be PS5 twin. Yep, PS5. I got my controller plugged in. I'm just kind of gearing up for tomorrow. So the knee brace, of course, makes a comeback. I wish I had a few more options on colors. It just kind of goes with the standard team color, but oh, the Vapor Edge Nike Dunks. You got the Carbon Elites. Let's see what else we got. The Savage Elites make a comeback. Fantastic. The Field Generals from Madden make a comeback. The Menace 2s. I'll probably have a bunch of dudes in the Dunks, to be honest. I think the Dunk cleats are sick. Most of my skill players will probably have those on, but we'll have to see. If they bring back, what were they called? The Speeds? I think it was the Speeds, the old ones that we used to have in NCAA 14 with the swoosh on the toe. Man, those were so fire. So if those make a comeback in here somewhere, I'll be making funny, stupid noises. I'll be so giddy. Generic cleats, okay, funny. I wonder if they've got Jordan Jumpmans, or is that just the Dunk that they had? It looks like only Nike. Maybe you're based on your school? Wait, can you not have Jordan cleats if you're not a Jordan school? That would be insane. That would make sense, but that would be insane. I didn't think about that. Bobby, who's the lowest rated team? Oh, wait. The Jordan 7 mid. Wait, where's that coming from? Hold on, I gotta take a swig of water. Bobby, if you're asking me for the real answer, I don't know, because I don't have the game yet. I haven't looked. Who's the lowest rated team? Like, in my opinion, it's Michigan. Yeah, as a Buckeye fan, Michigan's trash. I'm just joking, but yes. Okay, so we got the Jordan 7 mid as an option. I don't know where these came from. These weren't in his original little list, but those look fire. Absolutely love that. Okay, yes. Wait a minute. So it's based on teams. I think if I'm looking at this right, you can only wear the brand that your team is. So like, we used to be able to mix and match, but it looks like only Nike schools can wear Nike. Only Adidas schools have the Adidas suite of shoes. That's kind of nuts. That's probably what Eric is saying in this video, because I don't have the music or the audio on, but that is insane. So I wonder if only Jordan brand schools will have the Jordan shoes, which would be crazy. Andrew, did you pick my team? Did I pick my team? So yes, I did. We picked our plan. Yes and no. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to start as an offensive coordinator. And in real life, as realistic as possible, he was the interim offensive coordinator at Arkansas last year. So we're going to act like in 2024, he got the full job. So we'll start our series as the offensive coordinator is at Arkansas. We'll see how long it takes to get good offers. And then from there, we'll really pick our school. So that's kind of how it played out. So did you have a suggestion as we're wrapping up the stream here? Yes, this is exactly what happened. Here's Michigan, a Jordan brand school, and they have access to Jordan shoes. That is insane, including the Air Jordan 1s, which has become my favorite personal shoe in my collection. And they are ripping my soul out by having Michigan show off that you can only wear Jordan 1s if you're Michigan or if you're a Jordan school. I might have to pick a Jordan school for Coach Guyton to go be the head coach at. That's insane. The Jordan 1 cleats. Oh my God, those are fire. Oh, they got 5s too. Okay. The Jordan 10s. Yep. A generic cleat. Nobody cares about that. Retros, lows. Okay, so that's got to be the 11, right? We got the 7 mids. Those are going crazy. Oh no, there's the 11 lows. Fire. I know it's Michigan, but that is fire. And then, of course, Under Armour. I completely forgot. You got Under Armour schools, too. I don't really think Under Armour's making, like, crazy cleats, like, just pretty straight-up standard ones. so I'm not really going to lose sleep. But I'm not fucking with y'all. I might pick a school, at least at some point in the series, just to get a chance to wear some Jordans. That's fire. Did I see Texas Tech's Adidas announcement video? I feel like I saw some buzz going on, like trending or something about Texas Tech, but I didn't actually see a video. Did they do something crazy? Kangwin, I'll have to go look on Twitter when we wrap up. I'm not going to keep you guys too much longer. This is pretty much the end of the video. So you got spats, you got the cleats, you got the sock options. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's fire. Yes, sir. That's a fun way. Like, that's always been one of my favorite things, is to look at the gear. And, man, what a cool thing to have in the game for next year. How that whole thing's going to work. So, yeah, I'm fired up. Okay, I'll check that out. It's on TikTok, huh? Okay. All right, y'all. I'm just making sure everything was shut down. This was crazy fun. I will catch you guys tomorrow night. I'll keep you posted. Check out my socials. I'm Kimbroplays everywhere. I'll keep you posted on exactly what time. You know, you got to bear with me. I've got a young kid, so depending on when he goes to bed and if I can get everything squared away with my PlayStation, I will let you guys know officially what the plan is. But I'm planning to go live sometime around 9 o'clock tomorrow. We'll have the game ready to go. We just made our plan for what we're going to do, so we'll dive straight into our Dynasty, and we will get it going. I'm so freaking pumped. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so fun. So, all right, that's where we're going to leave it tonight. Happy Sunday. Enjoy what's going to be a crazy day tomorrow. If you're getting the game and you're planning to play it yourself, enjoy. If you're just going to tune in to watch me or any other creators, enjoy them, support them. It is a fun time to be a sports gamer for sure. All right, y'all. Much love. Thank you for everything. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will holler at you guys tomorrow night, and I appreciate you, man. All right, you guys stay safe. I'll see you tomorrow night. Peace.